Hello, everyone. Such a pleasure and honor to be with you here this afternoon. It's the afternoon in Nairobi. Really great to connect with the fantastic learners and participants of the Google Africa Developer Scholarship. As Chris has mentioned, my name is Lina. I'm the Talent Partnerships Manager at Andela, and I work with a really great team that helps implement this Google Africa Developer Scholarship. So it's really just an honor to be here to connect with you and also to start having some significant discussions with some of our top tech startup entrepreneurs that will give us an insight into the market side. Let us know a bit more about what they expect from you as software engineers and also their learnings and the process they have gone through as startups. So I'm hoping to have a very fun and exciting session with our startup entrepreneurs. And I'm also hoping that you will be engaging us, throwing some questions on the chat, show some excitement on the chat, do some hashtags, some screenshots, and share that on social media. So to kick us off, I'm just going to introduce our two startup entrepreneurs that are with us today. I'll just introduce them by name and company, and then allow them to give a more detailed introduction of who they are. And then we'll go into a more interactive question and answer session. So just to kick us off, I'll start off with introducing Benard Banta. He is the CTO of FinPlus, a fintech company based in Kenya. And I'll just give him the chance to give us a bit more of an introduction of himself and what he does at FinPlus. And today we also have Hanson Johnson. He is the CEO and founder of Start Innovation Hub, based out of Nigeria. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Hanson, we can start with you. Sorry about that. And then we can move to Benard.
All right. Thank you so much, Lina. So good to be here. You already introduced me anyway. I run Start Innovation Hub. I'm also the country mentor to GDGs in Nigeria. And within Start Hub, there is something we are very passionate about called Jiggle, a financial inclusive application that's helping bridge the financial inclusion gap in Nigeria. And why that's so interesting to us is because the solution came out during the pandemic lockdown where people were not able to go anywhere, and we saw it gaining some traction. And I'm willing to share some insights as we proceed. Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. Thanks, Lina, for the opportunity. As you said, my name is Benard Banta. I'm an entrepreneur and a software engineer at heart. I'm also co-founder and CTO of FinPlus. FinPlus is a multinational technology company headquartered in Nairobi, and we founded it in early 2017 to solve a financial exclusion problem. And we do that by providing automation software for financial digital services at scale across 5 countries in East and Southern Africa. Our goal is to make financial services accessible to everyone in the world. Thanks.
Thank you for that introduction, gentlemen. Bernard, I'll just head back to you now because you've just spoken, and maybe I can start off by asking you if you could just, highlight for us some of the key major challenges you had setting up FinPlus. You did mention you are the CTO, but you're also a co-founder. So just as a software engineer, what major challenges did you face setting this up? Because we see a lot of our software engineers on the continent trying to set something up that is successful, but it would be great to learn from what you have gone through.
I'll say when we started the company, our first challenge was getting the customers, and the second one was resources. So it was very hard for us initially to get the customers, but we got lucky and we got our first customer, and then our portfolio started increasing and become bigger from that point. But the challenge after that was resources, because there was so much work, and we needed to hire more people. We needed an office and all that. And again, our friends were able to come through, and we were able to get a small seed funding that enabled us to hire the first employees we had, and also to get an office space and to pay for the lawyers for the contracts, agreements, and everything. So we've been growing from that point. So those are the two major challenges for us.
Oh, fantastic, Bernard. So just to recap some of what you've shared is, one key thing is to just get your first customer. And then that really helps get the ball rolling. And then resources in terms of also administrative back, kind of like the back office work, does seem to be a bit of a challenge as well. So it would be great to have some support on that front.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Sounds great. Thank you for sharing with us. Hanson, over to you with a similar question. You mentioned you're wearing a couple of hats, Startup Innovation Hub, you're also mentoring. Do you want to highlight for us some major challenges that you have experienced as well as you're kicking off your Innovation Hub? And, even in mentoring, it would be great to hear some of the things that you've experienced in that front.
All right, thank you so much. And I'm happy that some of my mentees are also here in this call. The major challenge we had then, we are still having, is access to skilled talent. So no matter what idea you have, you need people to work with. If you are technical, you need someone that has business complementing skills. If you're a business and idea person, you need someone that has technical skills. So technically skilled talents are scarce. So the few we have, they are like hotcakes, and their hands are always filled up. So they are always going for the best paying jobs. Then when we identified that as a problem, we decided to build capacity so that we will always have a pipeline to these processes. So build these processes also led to another challenge, which is brain drain. As you build the capacity, you have skilled talent, but there are no opportunities to engage them locally. So they have no option to also migrate for better, where they have better opportunities. So aside talents, access to workspace was also a problem, but with the innovation hubs that we have around, we were able to solve that problem to some extent. Then a very huge one for startup entrepreneurs is market penetration. So you sit at home, cook an idea, go out to carry out your survey, talk to your target customers, and you all build a good product together. And you go back to the same customers, especially fintech solutions. You go back to the same customers that said, this is top notch, they are waiting to use it. And they are now scared of entrusting their money within your startup solution, So because you don't have what it takes to acquire the licenses, you don't have what it takes yet to have financial partnership with institutions that will gain you trust, to make people be comfortable to allow you process funds for them. So market penetration has been something very dicey and technical. And even when you go ahead to secure these things that will make them earn the trust, they are still like, oh, these guys are new in the market. Let's give them time, or just go and acquire more customers. So who are the first few customers that we will acquire before you come in? That's also a problem. But away from also financial solutions, market penetration is a huge challenge. You have to be very technical. You have to be down to earth and work directly with the people you are really targeting. No assumptions, else you'll be disappointed. Where we are, internet is very expensive if you have it. So we still have poor network. So what your peers are able to achieve within 30 minutes, it might take you 3 hours. So competing or collaborating within such environment is also a challenge. So as we are coding, as we are building, as we are developing, we are already facing these things already. So nothing is new as far as people that are here are concerned. Those are a few I can share for now.
Well, those were very strong points, Hanson, and thank you for sharing that. I think skill sets in Africa and access to skilled talent has been a challenge. I guess that's one of the reasons we have programs like this, you know, to boost the skill sets of our African talent. And, you know, we hope to continue working with, you know, people such as yourself to make sure that we get to the level the global market is demanding for. But I also enjoyed your point around market penetration. You know, also a very important point, you know, how are you accessing your market? How far deep are you going in with your market? So I hope you as an audience, you're catching these very strong points from our panelists today. And please, if you have any additional questions to what they're asking, please share on the chat. But Bernard, maybe I can go back to you here. You did mention that you are a software engineer, so you have that skill set. And I'm very curious to whether you built your first MVP product, you know, what that experience was for you, if you did, in terms of FinPlus or even any other product that you might have first kicked off into the market. And then just additionally to that, if you could talk to the developers here about how they could take some of these side projects or some of these projects that they're building and working on so passionately into real world projects or bring them to the market. So Benard, over to you.
Okay, so I'll give a short background about myself so that you're able to understand how we got to where we are and how we built our product. So my experience in software engineering is about 8 years. And I started working full-time as a software engineer to a company called Kopo. And then in 2015, I wanted to be an entrepreneur full-time because I've been doing side projects and working part-time as an entrepreneur. So in 2015, I quit to start my own company. That time it was Banter Technologies. So, but since that time I didn't have a product, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I worked as a consultant for so many companies. So I was building solutions for software companies, but that was not sustainable. So, but once I was stable, I started building products to solve financial problems. And then those products that I built, I ended up meeting with my friend who is now a co-founder of FinPlus, and we merged my products with their products, and we formed a company called FinPlus. So everything from the beginning we've built from scratch, and we've been able to add more products from using our software engineers. For engineers who are looking to start their businesses or to build products to solve problems, I will advise them to focus on their problem rather than the coding or the applications. And I see that's the most engineers make that mistake by focusing on cool applications, focusing on the coding. They want to build technology, mature technology, just like maybe companies like Facebook and Google and others. So that tends to slow them down, and they end up missing the point. But if engineers are able to focus on the problem, and when solving the problem, they should be solving it incrementally rather than the whole solution at once. So one shouldn't spend 6 months or even a year building a complete solution, because maybe by the time one is ready to go to market, they might find out that it doesn't work for this. The solution they build does not work for the users. So it's important to build incrementally. The first step is to start with a prototype, a very simple prototype that solves a small part of that problem. Showcase it to the user, get feedback. If the users like it, then launch it, and the user starts using it. So now, as the users are giving more feedback, the engineer can build can build incrementally until now it becomes they solve a bigger part of the problem. So that would be my advice.
No, thanks. That was fantastic advice. Focus on the problem solving rather than just showcasing how talented you are in writing code. And that definitely does give you a strong front in terms of what your product you're building. Still on that note, maybe I could just ask you an additional question before I move back to Hanson. You did mention that over the past 8 years of your career as a software engineer, that's when you started with your co-founder building products, but then you also started hiring software developers yourselves to support the work that you're doing. Could you highlight for us very briefly, maybe 2 or 3 points in terms of what you look for in software engineers that you'd like to hire?
So the number of things we look for. Number one, we look for engineers who are determined, engineers who are committed, engineers who are team player, and then engineers who are fast learners and problem solvers. And then the coding skills is the last, because you might be a very good coder, but if you're not a problem solver or a team player or a fast learner, then you might not be very useful to the company. So coding comes last. And we believe that if you are an engineer, if as a software engineer, you are a fast learner, very committed and determined and a team player, then coding will be, even if you are not a good coder, that will be the easiest thing. We believe that's the easiest thing to learn. Yeah.
Really, really good, strong point, because I think this also ties to what John was talking to during the open keynote. You know, some of those soft skills that really contribute to you being a strong software developer in a team setting, especially. So thanks for sharing that, Benard. And I'll just come over to you, Hanson. Similar question, you know, when you're looking to hire some of the top developers on the continent in Nigeria, what are some of the key aspects that you look into?
All right, thank you, Lina. One of the most important things I consider is a developer who knows the difference between side gig and official work. I need to say that again. A developer who knows the difference without side gig and official work. That's one of the first questions you are going to answer before we go ahead to do any other thing. So we also test to see how you understand prioritization more, because we have situations whereby there are 4 important things to do, and the person in charge does not know which to come first based on certain conditions associated with that particular incident. You know, so prioritization is a key component of everything we do in selecting who should be our engineers or developers. Also, soft skills, just as Benard, yeah, for you to be an engineer, for you to apply for that job, you already know how to code. So before we go to see how clean your codes are, we also compare, contrast, how well do you communicate? Because we have situations whereby a particular person working in a team of 5 other people, we have chains of tasks, and apart from you, there are 3 other people depending on whatever you're going to deliver. And we have a deadline, you know, and after your own task, you deliver successfully, top notch, and you refuse to pass the baton to the next person. You refuse to notify anybody in the team that you are done, you know, and you move ahead to do other things still for the company. But just because you refuse to communicate, that may cost the company over $1,000, you know, or so many other things. It brings a bad image. So communication is key. That is the problem we are facing every day in the office, communication. So apart from email communication, verbal communication, all forms of communication, you just have to pass a message around to somebody. So someone comes around, have you seen Benard? Yeah, I have seen him. Or no, I've not seen him. Meanwhile, Benard is around. Or there must have been something you would have done to pass a proper information. Oh, sorry, I don't work in Benard's team. How about talking to this person? He will have a better knowledge about Benard's whereabouts today, you know. So have a way of not just about work, even about domestic businesses or whatever you have to do together in the office. So communication matters a whole lot. So apart from all these, experience too matters. So what have you done before? Do you have a portfolio? So any engineer without a portfolio will not even be considered. So your portfolio matters. That's why if there is nobody to pay you to do something first, try to do something free for anybody. Thank you.
Very strong points, Hanson. Thank you for sharing that. I think sometimes the first way you started off strongly by saying, knowing the difference between a developer who's doing it as a side hustle and who's really focusing on this. So it's very important. That's a very strong and important point for our audience to note, that you need to be sure that this is what you want to do in terms of a career path, because your potential employers can sense that. So thank you for sharing that. Hanson, I'll actually just go back to you with my last question before we go into parting shots. So you have mentioned, what skill sets you look for in developers when you're about to hire them. But I'm very curious, where do you find these developers? Where do you source for them? Do you look for them through, job link sites? Is it through your networks? Where do you source for them? Because we have an audience here who's very eager to know where organizations such as yours would connect with them.
All right. I think this question, don't take my answer as a benchmark for others, because I am the country mentor to developers in Nigeria, So okay. I have access to all the developers. So all I need to do is drop a WhatsApp message that I need this, and in 5 minutes I hire.
Okay. That's an interesting approach. So you do have, what you basically have is a very strong network.
Yes.
Of these software engineers, which is fantastic. So, referrals is also a very strong way of hiring in a number of professions. So, once you're good at something, you have a friend who knows you're good at it, then you're able to be referred. So that's a good point. And I'm sure there are other methods as well. Benard, do you mind share how you also source for some of your software engineers and how they can connect to you?
Okay. So we look for software engineers in tech communities. We are very active in tech communities. I run a community called Nairobi. Number of Andela engineers are part of Nairobi. So that's the first place we look for engineers. We announce, and then we wait for referrals from the members, or even the members themselves applying to this position. And the second place is our network of friends. So that would be verbally on social media. And then the last thing we do is we post the careers on our career portal, which is careers.finplusgroup.com. So, because sometimes it might take a very long time to get engineers from our community or even from a network of friends. So, and we end up getting a number of applicants through our career portal.
Fantastic. So our audience today, I hope you've heard from both Hanson and Benard in terms of how they connect to the tech ecosystem, to you as software engineers, and also like to highlight, as the team at the GADS program and as ALC, we also look at ways to providing these opportunities to you. So always be alert, be connected to your network. You've both had, it's great to be part of a community that also exposes you to a lot of opportunities for potential employment. I see that we are a minute over time, and I'd love to hear parting shots from both of you, Benard and Hanson. It's been really great connecting with you, but I'd love to hear some parting shots. Benard, let's kick off with you, since your mic is on and you've just spoken. Give us your last words and maybe some encouragement for the software engineers who have been part of the GADS program.
Okay. My parting shot is give your best, be agile, and find meaning in what you are doing. And the best engineers are the ones who are in line with the problem or the goal they want to achieve. Yeah.
Great. I hope you've all taken point of Benard's note there, parting shot. Share it with your community, be available, be agile, think openly. Hanson, over to you. Parting shot, what would you like to share with us today as we close, to all those that are watching?
Don't work in silos. Let your friend know what you are doing, because this referral you are talking about is all about your friend having access to information first before you. Then also, don't rise to an occasion, rather fall to the level of your training. All the best.
Great words here from our panelists today, and really inspirations to our ecosystem on the continent. Thank you very much, Benard and Hanson. Such an honor moderating this discussion with you today, and we look forward to connecting with you and the rest of the developers in future. Thank you very much, everyone who watched and brought in some questions. I will throw this back to Chris and Marcy to take us into our next session. Thank you, everyone.